Welcome to Beyond Brave. I'm Kyla, and here's where we dive into stories of hope, bravery, and laughter. Millions followed our journey with my daughter Bella, but now it's time to go beyond the headlines and highlight reels to those raw, real moments I haven't shared anywhere else. So are you ready to go beyond brave? Let's dive in.
But if you want it to be perfect, you can make it perfect.
Hi, Bravelings. I am so excited to tell you who our guest is today. It's Ryan Reynolds. I can't hold it in any longer. He does not need an introduction, of course, but I'll give you a couple little reminders. He is a Canadian gem of a human. He's an actor. I think you'll find out through our podcast today when you see and listen. He missed his calling as a therapist for sure. Because my goodness, did we have like a sesh with him today, Lyle and I, when we talked to him. He was also he was like world's sexiest man alive in 2010. And I guess getting to the point of why we had him on our show is his deep connection with Bella. He had a real strong connection with Bella, a true friendship. Bella and I worked with Ryan on numerous SickKids campaigns. He is a massive, huge supporter of SickKids Hospital in Toronto. And so we talk about that connection with him as well as some rapid fire questions, which are really, really funny. I'm really proud to say that I made Ryan Reynolds laugh. So that's off my bucket list. And so without any further, and one more thing. He legit makes a Swift Tree Center commercial for Lyle. It's hilarious, you guys. I'm so excited for you to listen. Let's start our interview with Ryan Reynolds.
I don't know how else to start other than saying condolences to you both. I don't know. I know that how inadequate words are in comparison to what you might feel, but I just want to. That's probably the only place I know to start from with this. But and I'm very happy to chat with you. I'm also very careful to. I don't want to center myself in this. I just whatever. I saw your message and I want to just show up.
Well, we invited you, of course, so you don't have to feel that way.
Yeah, and honestly, you are thoughtful and generous, and we just appreciate this so much, and thank you for that.
Oh, my pleasure.
Why don't you start with your introductions, Kyla?
Yes. Okay. So I wanted to. I know we've met, but you haven't met my husband Lyle. This guy over here, sitting beside me.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I'll never forget his stash, though. Already, I'm like,
man, appreciate it. I get it.
I'm envious. Mine's gray now, so it's never gonna happen.
I'm finding like 7 or 8, and there might be 1 or 2 new gray ones in there every month.
I think if anyone's earned their gray hairs, it's you guys. If you have them, you enjoy every one of them. So,
we do have a bit of a connection, though. Although I'm just meeting you now, it was 20 years ago. So back in 2005.
Do I know the story?
Yeah, you probably would.
Oh.
So just down the road from where we live now, 2 hours away, is the University of Regina, where Kyla and I met.
Yeah.
At that point, we were just friends. Now, wouldn't you imagine that at the exact same time, in the exact same city, who was there? But our boy, Ryan Reynolds.
You were recording
there. Yeah. We filmed there. It was the winter, too. And that I've never seen this before or since, but the camera, I think it got down to about -40, which is an interesting temperature because -40 Fahrenheit and -40 Celsius are kind of the same. I don't know why. Who decided that nonsense? But the camera, this is back when we used film, had to be wrapped in those heat packs, the ones that you put in your pockets, had to be wrapped entirely in that. Otherwise, it would just freeze solid. And we couldn't shoot. Yeah.
But I like to think so. We both got our big break in Regina at the same time. I met my lovely bride, Kyla, and you had one of your first, big feature films. So that's pretty crazy.
This is full circle.
Well, yeah, that was, that's also like, I don't know why the certain movies, well, I have theories, but why certain movies endure and others don't. you know, and Just Friends has become sort of like a Christmas, like one that people tend to revisit each year at Christmas time. And I guess it is a Christmas movie, but boy, did I have fun
Yeah.
making that sucker. And Regina, my brother's a Mountie, so he spent a ton of time in Regina as well. And yeah,
Oh, wow.
Cool.
you
Well,
know,
you
I knew
totally
it, you know.
Lyle ruined my intro for him. I was gonna introduce him in a real, like, funny way, but no, you
Hey,
made everything all
but
nice
this
and
is no. This is the magic of editing, right? Your producer, who I know is top notch, will tell you you can just do your intro
you can
now
edit.
and
Yeah,
then plop it on the beginning of this sucker. Unless we're live, in which case we're all doomed.
No, I
yeah.
should have warned you. We're definitely not live.
Not live. No,
Okay,
no,
good.
no, but I was gonna say Lyle's practicing his cool but not impressed face for you so you can shatter his
Well, I'm
dreams.
not too impressed after Ryan slides into my wife's DMs the other night.
Right? Yeah. Don't. You can't stop me, my friend.
No, I messaged.
I don't
messaged
even. I
her,
don't
but
even like do. I don't even like. Most of the time, don't use social media lately, just because I was so underwater working on Deadpool and Wolverine that
Yeah.
I all I want now is to just be a lot more present with my kids and just so yeah, it was actually Sophia who caught your DM and yeah, so
Oh, so
she's the
sorry.
hero. Yeah.
Okay, well, I was gonna explain how we came to even have you as a guest on our podcast, and I have to give credit to my friend Stacy, as this text that we had between us was so hilarious, and I
Mhm.
shared that text on my Instagram stories, tagging you without thinking you would actually reply. Like, I totally thought I had to go through your team and like send emails and whatnot, and you just replied like, "Yeah, let's do it. When are you free?" And I was just like, "Oh!"
Yeah. I
in
don't
a
know.
So
Also, like I don't every like I think a cheat code in life is to just fucking do it yourself. I mean, like, honestly, like, I
yeah,
think, you know, so many people who are lucky enough to do the job I do have layers and layers of people. It's just, it's crazy. And you actually don't form any emotional investment or connection with people if you are always speaking through a third party or you're always, I just like every good thing that's ever happened to me in my business has happened from a relationship, not from, you know, a lucky break necessarily, or, you know, it's relationships are kind of, I always think are kind of everything. And, you know, we all fail and then we all win sometimes. But when you fail, if you have those emotional connections and relationships, you're more likely to find a hand up from someone familiar than you are when you've spent your whole life isolated in
yeah.
a vacuum and never discussing anything with anyone. So I always definitely try to, you know, have some, you know, yeah, real connection. It's just otherwise what's the point, you know?
Yeah.
And we can get into more of that in a minute when we talk about how we met and all that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was gonna start that conversation by going back to our first connection, which I wanted to ask you your perspective and if you could take us back to your first connection with Bella, like how
Mhm.
you came to know her before reaching out to us and sharing your beautiful, ugly Christmas sweater with
Well,
us.
thank you. Thank you. Well, Bella, I knew of Bella because she had just an absolutely hysterical Instagram presence. And, you know, I love charisma. I mean, who doesn't, you know? And that kid, as the kids say,
Yeah,
had the riz. So
she did.
yeah, I mean, it's not every day you can sort of see somebody who can reach out right through your little, you know, these little rectangles we've
Dreams.
duct taped to our face all
Yeah.
day, every day, who can reach out through there and kind of, you know, fill a room in a way, you know, and I really like, you know, my Sick Kids Foundation, my relationship with the foundation and the hospital is pretty deep. It started with a little kid named Grace Bowen, who passed away, and I'm still very close with her dad, Greg, and Grace's sister Mackenzie. And you know, I just years, I think it was 10 years ago or so, maybe less, I'm not sure, but I met there where I met them, and Haley Wickenheiser, who I'm sure you know,
Oh yeah.
Canadian legend extraordinaire, introduced me to the Sick Kids Foundation, and that's sort of how I got involved. And it is certainly it's for the kids in a way, but what I think people don't really realize is For me, it's actually, I would say, half and half. It's for the parents, you know, like I'm a parent, I have 4 kids. I can't imagine, you know, the what you've shouldered day in and day out, the lack of certainty, the kind of, you know, the feeling of placing your sort of faith and you know, heart in the hands of somebody else to help. You know, is something that I don't, you know, that isn't like a, you know, thankfully a pain or a position that I fully will ever understand, and I hope I don't. Um, so, you know, a lot of what I do with Sick Kids Foundation is, of course, I get to meet all these great kids, but generally the kids are pretty good. You know, they're like, no matter what is going on, have a kind of, I find that fascinating. They're all sort of have a disposition that doesn't really project worry or even
Mhm.
pain, even though I know they're in pain at
Mhm.
times. And you know, but they you know, most of them, you know, really feel cared for, and it's like kids have a wisdom that we don't have, you know? We lose it in time, and
Yeah.
there is something, and I'm not a particularly religious person, but there is something almost spiritually kinda advanced about kids at that age where there's a sense of, like, it's all gonna be okay.
I think their
And
superpower is just to live in the moment, right? That's what
yeah.
they tell us. Whenever she was feeling good, she just snapped out of it and, like,
Mm.
lived that day just to
Yeah.
Yeah.
have as much fun as she possibly could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
But
bet you
the
that a lot
but
of
the
kids that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
we
the wet eyes of parents are the thing I always, like, find is the thing that, you know, sticks with you just as much as a sick kid. So, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump on what you were saying, so
No,
please
I just
chime
wanted
in.
to I wanted to make sure that, like, from Lyle and I personally, we wanna thank you because Sick Kids was such a huge part of Bella's life, not only for her transplant and getting her that, but Bella had so many rare conditions, and those rare conditions had symptoms that no one in the world had seen before, and Sick Kids, the support for them supported helping her. And so anyone that supports Sick Kids like
Mhm.
you, it's absolutely life-changing for kids like her. So we wanted to say thank you for that.
Yeah. Oh, man, of course, of course. I know what they do over there, and I also know what it must feel like for someone to, while I've never dealt with anything remotely close to the kind of, emotional resonance and pain that you guys have experienced, I do know that, like, you know, the source of most, you know, real anguish is feeling alone. You know, like if you've ever had a problem, this is a very, you know, microcosmic example of that. But if you've ever had a problem where you feel like you're the only person on earth who's experiencing this problem, that is a tough psychic leap to get over, to move forward. So when someone like, you know, Bella's experiencing symptoms and conditions that are unique to her and that a lot of people haven't seen before, you really want to feel that the folks who are trained and are circling the wagons around her really kind of understand and make her feel like we're all in this together, and we all, you know, it's just a classic chunk of humanity that is always effective, is that feeling of we're togetherness. You know, we will do everything we can all together at the same time. And I know they do that at Sick Kids, and it's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about advancing their agenda and anything I can do to help them.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think one of the biggest parts too is that it's behind closed doors what's happening in there, and it's a shame because the parents are really feeling a little bit alone in there. And so, I mean, that's what we're trying to do, and that's what you've done, maybe in a big way, is kind of open up and talked about, you know, what's happening behind there. So I think that's really helpful.
Yeah,
mhm,
yeah. Well, grief is something that people don't, you know, discuss all that
No.
much, and it's so complicated. I mean, like you
yeah,
know, I had a fairly, you know, like a lot of sons, I had a tricky relationship with my dad, but he's been gone, I don't know, almost 9.5 years, almost 10 years now, and I still have those moments where you're just walking around on some random Thursday, and it's like somebody removed their glove and then took to my cheek, my damned insolent cheek, and
mhm,
smacked me across the face with grief all of a sudden. And you know, I've experienced loss with I lost one of my best friends this last September, and like you kind of, it's one of those ongoing sorts of journeys, you know, and you kind of, I don't know, like I think of like, I don't mean to be all that spiritual or esoteric or anything, but I always sort of think of like memories are interesting because they also sort of become a place or a feeling like that you visit in a way,
Mhm.
like, you know, and I think of grief a little bit like that. Like it's obviously the pain you're experiencing when you're in grief is, you know, unexpressed love. And it's all the, you know, that's how I think framing it that way is at least makes it make sense a little bit more. But, you know, I think of my memories of people, certainly my friend who passed and even my dad and others, as sort of a feeling in a place that I get to visit where, you know, the floors and the walls and the windows and the curtains are all made of aspects of their personality or their, you know, and you can kind of wander around in there from time to time. And I almost like don't love photos for that reason, because a photo will preclude what the temperature was in the room, or what the wind felt like in that second, or like what their hand felt like in your hand, or, you know, it suddenly isolates this one sense. And so I don't know, I love memories for that. And I love experiencing the memories without necessarily having to go through a photo album, because it's more vivid this way.
Yeah, that's a really funny way to put it. You know, I can look at the videos, I can see the photos, but I'll think of like Bella, the last time she gave me a kiss on my cheek, and I can still feel it. It's crazy that the way you put it that way. Yeah.
Younger, like maybe 4, I want to say. I showed him a picture of you, and he said, "Dad." I said, "Dad."
Oh, no, Dad. No, Waylon. Daddy looks like a young Tom Selleck.
Oh, he does.
Yes, he does.
I'll take it. I'll take that.
Yeah, getting the chopper, getting the Ferrari. Yeah.
I was okay with Ryan Reynolds, but Tom Selleck, young. That sounds
No,
great.
Tom Selleck. That right there was a 80s dreamboat right there.
That resonates with me. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, right. It feels home, like home, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna mention too, like one of like our favorite memory with you, of course, was when we met you for the first time at SickKids. You had visited Bella right after her bowel transplant, and of course, which she referred to as meh.
Yeah, I said,
But
how do you feel? I think I said something like, were you scared? Did it work? How do you feel good? And she just went, meh. And that she also remembered that she liked the hospital food, like preferred the hospital
preferred
food.
the roast beef sandwiches. She had like 4 that day.
Right.
It really kind of hits home for us, because, well, what the hell? I was thinking we were making pretty good meals.
Yeah. But
no, you don't come anywhere near mass-produced roast beef sandwiches, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Well,
but
all kids though, right? They're all like that. Ours too.
I had a confession from that day, and I wanted to ask you if you recalled it or not, but I was so embarrassed because like it was a surprise, like that your team had come up and said, "Okay, Ryan has time. He really wants to see Bella." And
my team, this is like, I love the team. I have Sophia, and I think we had our emissary from SickKids.
Yes. Yeah.
So you know, I'm just correcting the record, because that sounds like guys who have those little earpieces that say like red 1 is on the move. This is Red Eagle, come in. Yeah, I would love to have guys like that. That sounds awesome.
I think it sounds more like a rap crew, and you have like 10
coming with you. I'm actually going to form a pretty nerdy entourage.
Yeah.
Of people. I think that's sort of my New Year's resolution.
But I remember.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I remember talking to my nurse, and we were right at the door, and Bella was just sitting at her hospital bed waiting to have a chat with you. And I handed my phone to our nurse, who was standing right at the door, and I didn't know you were right there. And I was like, just keep it rolling. And then you walked in like 2 seconds later. I'm like, oh, that's embarrassing. That's so embarrassing.
I feel like that's that keep it rolling is something I hear quite often when I'm making movies and stuff. So it's when you say that, my brain just tastes like butterscotch. So it doesn't matter. I'm not going to really focus on that. But I do remember you. I have a much stronger visual memory. Like I can't do dates or anything. I'm terrible at dates, but I remember exactly where you were standing, and I was on the side. I got down, and I was talking to Belle over at her sort of bedside, and I remember you over there, and it was fun to watch you watch her watch me. And
That's
it's just
exactly,
super
and you
cool. Yeah.
noticed that?
Well,
Oh,
quickly, it's also because I'm on the inside, I'm a panicky, anxiety-ridden person
aw.
who's just constantly reading the room for threats. So but I
Like
also want to
pushing.
make sure that you feel, that's your baby, right? So I want to make sure that what the way I'm talking to her, because I try to not talk to them like they're, you know,
Yeah,
little
yeah,
kids. They've dealt with more in their short life than I've ever
yeah.
known, struggles that I've ever known. So yeah, I try to, but
Well,
I never know. So I just want to look at the parent like, this is the
oh,
right
it's like
way,
a
okay.
yeah, no, I was just so impressed and happy with how your focus was on her, and she could chat with you like you were just like a bestie that entered the room to have a
She's
visit.
hilarious. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm always happy to take time for, I don't even care that she was sick. I take time for a student of comedy. That was it. Like, she was like, I left like a little bit better at my job, just a skosh. But, I mean, she
Took
had
some time.
timing. She was very time. I mean, that kind of. Also, I want to ask you, do you guys refer to Bella, like, how do you like to refer to? You refer to her in past tense, like she was or she is? Like some people are different that way. I've talked to different parents who are like,
For me, like I talk about her as what she did, past
Mhm.
tense, but her legacy and what we want to carry on for her, like she would want, it's like this is what's
I
happening
get
now in her honor type.
she is still having an impact,
Yeah.
but I mean, but we do prefer in past tense. I think, and it just, you don't think about it; it just happens, right?
Hmm.
I mean, to maybe talk about her in current tense and maybe be more intentional, and I can understand why people might do that.
Hmm.
Right.
But as far as I've noticed, that isn't the case.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't. I've met at this point in 10 years probably thousands of parents, and everyone's different that way. Some
Mhm.
refer to in present tense, some refer, and so I sometimes catch myself like, like wait, hold on, what do how do you like
Yeah.
to? But how is Waylon
Wait,
with? Yeah, wait, is it Waylon? Is Waylon named after Waylon Jennings?
No, but
no, but yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
I always fear,
Yeah.
because when people ask that, because it always happens, it's like, oh, are they going to quiz me about Waylon Jennings? Because I like it,
Oh
but I'm
no,
no
yeah, me too.
Waylon guy.
I know the name. I couldn't really tell you. I wish cool people could be like, oh, well, the B-sides from the album he did in that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear, is I say I am a
Yeah.
fan, and then we go down that road.
We really just like the
Yeah,
name.
no.
You picked it.
No.
Yeah.
I could tell you about the Anya box set all day long, but no, I don't know the Waylon Jennings stuff. So Waylon, but how does Waylon? What is that job kind of? I don't mean to quiz you and tell me to
No, I like
fuck
it.
off.
That's fine.
But what do you like? How do you handle that with a 6-year-old? He was 5, I assume. When
Yeah.
is that right? Am I
Mhm.
saying dates
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
years? No. Yeah.
We
How
had
do you
a
approach that with him?
Yeah, we had, thankfully, like I had a friend who works with social work and kids in Toronto. She's very well versed in that, thankfully. And she was really a close comfort for Lal and I when Bella had passed and we had that final week in
Mhm.
Toronto. And so she was really good at helping us up, like basically let him know that Bella had
And
passed
just
and
be very
be
very clear,
clear.
blunt.
Yeah, don't sugarcoat, because then the question might come, like if you had said like she passed because she was sick, that could invoke fear in him anytime someone's like, oh, I'm sick today, right? So it was
Yeah.
like, no, she passed away from a very rare complication or
Mhm.
an illness,
disease.
a disease.
Mhm.
So like
Yeah.
using that kind of terminology, and then also that we had to be very blunt with him and rip the Band-Aid off and saying, no, she had died. Like we couldn't just sugarcoat it and be like, you know what, she's happier in heaven now, or she's okay, but she's here. Cause then he might then
She is with us. I mean, we feel it, but
like, yeah,
to a 5-year-old, you just have to
Yeah.
make sure they're not thinking, oh, she's going to show up tomorrow. She's
Yeah.
just gone.
Yeah, it probably evolves too, I would assume. I mean, it's an ever evolving kind of.
He's totally understanding now about it.
He was like, I mean, they both are, but were like very mature, understanding for their ages. And I think Waylon that way as well. I was very surprised with the way he handled it. And yeah, he's very mature for a 5-year-old, the way he did. It was
maybe with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, it's what, to me, it's always wild how that kids have a kind of weird wisdom that is, it's almost like the world kind of erases it from their consciousness as they grow older and start to deal with cynicism and deal with, all of life's little surprises. And, but I also noticed that honesty, even with my own kids, when it's something that's trivial, just being kind of completely blunt and clear and never, sugarcoating it, and just, allowing them to kind of, one of the things we've been doing lately is like letting them work out their own problems. Cause like, when I was a kid, it was like the sun came up and my dad or mom would look at me and go, okay, fuck off. And off I went, and I would go on my bike alone or with friends all day, like no supervision. I would have to, I'd have to work out my own problems. I'd have to resolve conflicts with people. I'd get hurt. I do all these things that we sort of prevent, our kids from doing now. So I'm trying lately to sort of manufacture a version of that, even if we're not like letting our kids just take off on their bicycles in the middle of Manhattan, which no one would ever do in a civilized world, and just say, hey, you guys talk to each other, like, figure it out. I want to hear how you communicate. Sometimes it's horrible, and I instantly regret it. And then other times you're like, oh, that's good. You guys did a good job.
Yeah.
I found with us, because now it's just the two of us and one kid right now, we gotta not overwhelm him. So, okay, Kylie, you take this one. I'm just, it's a nice way to be lazy, but I'm like, you can't overwhelm him with two parents. That's not fair. He's outnumbered.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but I also imagine he's, so much of your energy was focused on Bella and her, and her condition. And so I wonder how, I wonder how it's probably another adjustment to, focus exclusively on this little guy who, has been there with you guys throughout this whole journey, and kind of,
He really brings us back to earth sometimes when we get too deep in our grief and too numb to everything around us. He brings us back, and he's like, okay, this is, yes, you are going through this. I'm going through this too. And then he carries us on like, okay, but we're still going to have fun, and we're going to still look forward to this, and he brings us back to that. And I think that's so mature for a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's a great, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's an amazing Apple movie called The Boy, the Horse, the Boy, the Fox, the Mole, and the Horse, I think it's called. It's like 45 minutes long. It's like one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. But there's all these like little, it's this little boy who's kind of, we think is sort of lost in the snowy wilderness, and he befriends a little like mole, or I think it's a mole. And the mole asks some questions like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the kid sort of thinks for a long time and then says, kind, and then, they continue on their journey, and they talk kind of throughout this little 45-minute thing. I find it so calming that they really captured what the curiosity and kind of wonder and lack of censorship a kid has. And there's a moment where they think you're in the storm, and it's the worst possible moment. And the kid feels like it's never going to pass. And he's sitting there with this fox and the mole and the horse. And they immediately snap him back to the present by saying something like, in the worst of moments, when you feel this way, just look right under your nose. And it's very much what you just described, where you're looking at your son sometimes, I imagine, and it snaps you back and lets you kind of reprioritize something that is, that we can get lost in the dumbest, thought or problem. And, you go, God, if 30 years from now I could look back and go, I was worried about that.
Yeah. I before we go on to I have some really fun rapid fire questions for you.
I'm going to answer in slow-mo though.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay, fine. But I wanted to ask you a bravery was very important to Bella. She took it very seriously and she really wanted to help other kids be brave. So,
Mhm.
is there a moment in your life where you had to dig deep and find some courage and you felt brave?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that yeah, I mean, I worked in a very kind of odd business for a long time, and I've never really felt like I think like a lot of people feel this way. I think more than would care to even admit, but I've never felt like I fully belong in it, or I felt, you always feel a little of that imposter syndrome, or
Mhm.
but that kind of pressing on. And I felt brave in this industry a number of times because I've done things that I didn't think I could do, or I didn't think I was going to be good at, or I didn't. So I think I have courage or bravery also as a willingness to trust yourself. So I've had all those moments where the voices are screaming inside my noggin, that to get out of Dodge, or forget about this. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, but the belief that it'll be okay is also accompanied by something that I only think happens, as with kids and with people who are a little bit older, is this willingness to suck. Like to be all right, sucking at something is like it's the smart. It's just so. I just think it's like the best.
Yeah.
It gives you so many advantages. And then kids too, kids are like, I say all this to my kids too, like, don't waste your mistakes. Like mistakes are like where the good stuff is, right? Like we all, I've made mistakes in my life, and I've been around people who had the grace to kind of allow me to, process it, be ashamed of it if I want, or, but then also give me the grace to kind of learn from it and kind of help others with it, with that. So like, I always look at mistakes as like these little tiny hidden gems that feel like they're trying to stab you in the face, but they're actually just trying to wake you up to something. And
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's cool. It reminds me of just I suck at hockey, but
I don't.
I decide I'm like, you know what?
that's why you have to leave Canada immediately.
I'm like, all right, I'm still gonna coach Wayland's hockey team, and I
Yeah.
look forward to it every time now. Even though I'm like, man, I'm just the worst hockey player, but I know how to skate. But what business do I have coaching hockey? None.
No, but
No.
a coach is like, it has nothing to do with that.
No.
Your job is just to make them all believe in themselves. I read this great, or I listened to a podcast. It was Michael Lewis's podcast a long time ago, and he talked about Coach Fitz. It's worth looking up. But the coach was interesting because he, was this legendary coach, but he started in these with these younger kids in these baseball games or something. And sorry, I don't mean to tangent, but this one's worth it, I think. The coach kind of, they were getting their butts handed to them in this baseball game, and they finally managed to kind of tie it up. And I'm totally butchering this, but the core of it will be right. And he looks at this kid who's been sitting on the bench the whole season, and he said, basically, he's out of pitchers, and he looks at this kid and he says, "You're up, get out there, and you're going to do this." And the kid just is panicking. He just, wow, what am I going to do? And he says, something like, "You are the exact person I want out there for this exact thing." And it just meant so much to me. And I remember seeing it happen in real life when, I'm a co-owner of Wrexham AFC, which is a football club in North Wales. And we were down to the last second where to get out of the National League. And it's the most impossible. You can edit all of this out, by the way. I pulled a string in my back, but we were in the National League, and it was impossible to get out. It was just one of the hardest leagues to get out of, and they have a pyramid system, so you just keep wanting to go up. But we were the game was, we looked like we were, I think it was 3-2, we were up, and if not, I can't believe we got a penalty, and there was no time left. And we had our 40-year-old goalkeeper in there, Ben Foster, former Premier League player, who started at Wrexham and said, "I'll come back for 8 games to get you guys over the line." And it was just that I don't think I've ever felt tension like that in that stadium. And this team we were playing were Notts County, and they were amazing. I mean, they pushed us all year, and we pushed them. We both finished with 111 points, and they had 107, which was a record for any league. and we just couldn't believe this chase. And this kid gets out there to kick the penalty, and penalties are like, usually they're much more in favor of the guy who's kicking the ball than the goalkeeper.
Right. Just
And
totally.
yeah, and this Notts County kid goes and he just boots a laser, and our goalkeeper Ben Foster saves it, and the whole place goes completely nuts. But I think his name was Kedwin, the guy that kicked it. But what you don't realize is that kid, who was probably 20, he's probably 24 or something. It's just a couple years ago. That was like to him felt like the end of the world. He went back over, and his coach, he was inconsolable. His dad was there. We learned about all of this afterwards. And then, so we ended up going up to the next league, but then went into a playoff. So they had to battle it out with another team. And that's hell, because anything can happen in football. And usually it doesn't work out for you that way. And they did. They battled all. And then the same thing happened to them, where last second, a penalty. And that their coach, Luke Williams was his name, looked at that guy, same guy, and went, "You're up." Yeah. And he just couldn't believe it. He was like, "Meet me." And he went in, and he was the exact right guy for the job. And he went in and he fucking kicked that ball through the net. And it was just this, we loved it because, everybody won. It was like one of those things that failure that he had before would never have felt like this. Had he not had that failure, if he had not experienced that kind of feeling, we wouldn't have felt that. So we were, weirdly rooting for this team, even though we'd been in this, locked horns all season. And it was just one of those moments I'll never forget, and just a lesson that is reiterated over and over again. How's your rapid fire questions going so far?
Well, they're very molasses.
No, I'm killing you right here.
No, it's great. It's great. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. All right. Ready? Okay.
It's rapid, honey.
Rapid.
Yeah, this on you. This on you, man. This is not on me.
This is not me. Okay. Poutine or ketchup chips?
Oh, poutine.
Favorite Tim Hortons order?
Actually, scrambled eggs.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
I didn't know you could get scrambled eggs.
Neither did I. Oh dear. Which Canadian city has the best vibe?
Well, hold on. With Tim Hortons.
Okay.
You didn't know you could get scrambled eggs. Well, stay tuned. Anyway, go on. Carry on.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Canadian city with the best vibe.
Canadian city with the best vibe. Vancouver. Come on, man. Vancouver's totally got the best vibe.
Yeah. Not Regina?
Regina? Not a bad vibe, though. I mean, I put it into Deadpool. I made it, that's sort of a, Regina, which rhymes with fun.
I was going to say, Kyla's going to be proud of us because we hadn't made a Regina joke yet, and it's been brought up about 4 times.
Ooh.
But now we did.
No, there you go. Yeah, no. Finally, we nailed it, right? Yeah.
Okay. Hockey or curling?
Ooh, I would say curling, because that's a growth industry. I don't know. I feel like curling has room to go. Like, there's a story there that we haven't yet heard, and I would say curling. I love hockey, but I would say curling.
Well, I will let Haley know that, as she'll be a guest on my podcast.
I'm sure nothing like a rusty ice skate to the head. Anyway, carry on.
Most Canadian thing you've done lately?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's just I apologize all the time, and I don't, even when it's like, what are you apologizing for? It's I don't know. I think I need to stop doing that. I just start with I'm so sorry. Yeah. That's probably the most Canadian thing I've done. Oh, actually, I went to the Royal Canadian Mint.
Oh.
That's the most Canadian thing I've done lately. I took my daughter to the Royal Canadian Mint because she'd always wanted to see it, and that my dad was, he was a cop and then a food broker. He wasn't like a guy of means, but he did always. I have 3 older brothers. For the 4 boys, every year he would send away to the Royal Canadian Mint for this. I don't know, it was like $10 or $15, but like the coins, that year's coins that were never touched by human. They're still in the plastic or whatever. And that's kind of like the main thing I still have of his. I don't have anything else from my dad except those coins. Oh, wow. So my 5-year-old, who ran in here a second ago, it means a lot to her, because I kind of explained it to her. So then I had to go to Ottawa. So I said, do you want to come with me? And I said, let's go for a tour at the Royal Canadian Mint. So we went and saw it, and it was actually like 10 times cooler and more fascinating than I ever would have guessed. And we had a ball. I would say that was pretty Canadian. of me.
That's very Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, hitting you with the rapid fire answers here, aren't I?
What? No, it's good. You're good. What's the first thing you do when you land back in Canada?
Oh, I don't know. The first thing I do when I land back in Canada, I just like immediately gravitate. Food always, right? Like I'll immediately think of like there's a Jamaican patty place that's like near where I grew up in Kitsilano. I'll immediately want to go there. I'll just think of like all those hallmarks that when I was a kid that, I had a paper route and I only had a paper route because my parents never bought like sweets. Like we didn't have, like 4 boys. I mean, it's brutal. Like our milk was powdered milk and you would make it because it was, 4 boys will, like, they'll bankrupt you with milk alone. So I got a paper route just to have sweets. So I had a paper route and I would go to Safeway. Well, at the time it was Woodward's. Now you guys, I'm older than you. So, and I would go get a Long John, the chocolate donut thing.
Yes.
Here, they're not called that here. That was like, so I still like think about that, even though that place is gone now.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to shorten it now because you made that very long answer.
It's my fault. I had like 15 minutes, which was like 30 minutes ago, but I
was going to say, do you still have time? I feel that I don't want to take too much of your time. What do you think was Taylor Swift's favorite show in Canada? What city?
Oh, what city?
Or let me rephrase that.
I didn't get to see the Toronto or Vancouver. I think it was just those 2 venues, right? I think it was.
Yeah.
Was there
Do you think she preferred her Canadian spots over all the other ones?
I think that my guess is, and this is total conjecture. But I would say, because I didn't ask which city, because the vibe in Canada is the thing I love. Like I love being in Toronto. I always prefer going to Vancouver because we grew up there, but at Montreal, I spent a long time there this year shooting, or last year. But I would think Vancouver because it was the last stop, and I know that show was kind of like a one of one. I mean, I'd
right. There's like
been lucky enough to see it. Yeah. And I imagine it was emotional as hell because they were that whole the production value alone and what goes into making something that spectacular and dynamic, yet also weirdly intimate. I don't know. I would have been a sobbing mess if I possessed even 1,000th of the talent that she does, and I was on a tour like that. Yeah.
What was your last text to Blake?
That's a good question. Let's take a look. Let me see here. It's spelled BLAK. My last text was a picture of my daughter Nezzy, who had a hoodie on, and Nez looks like a cross between like the haunted kid in Flatliners and the Unabomber, and she's looking at me with a little stink eye, and I just wrote stink eye.
Perfect. Okay, best prank you've pulled on somebody.
I don't know. I haven't pulled a lot of pranks.
No? Not even on Hugh?
No. Well, I mean, Hugh is his own human prank. So no, I don't know. You know what I did once though? My friend who I mentioned earlier, who passed away, Eric Gilliland, was one of the most funny, charming, hilarious people I've ever known. I used to paint chunks of his office when he was away. So I would just paint like a huge one wall hot pink, and then I would crazy glue a lot of the like pencils and things into the desk when you sort of pull them out. I would crazy glue everything in there. Actually, I really like it. And when I worked at Safeway, I used to work in a grocery store midnight to 8 a.m. And you would be cutting with those X-Acto knives, all the boxes open and facing out the shelves, and you sometimes would just take your finger and like the X-Acto knife, the razor would go right through it. That was when my first flirtation with crazy glue. Is we would pour it in the cut and then hold it closed, and it would actually work like a charm. And now there's like that glue adhesive. I think that's crazy glue. I don't know. I think they got
those
him.
Those are legitimate pranks, though. Hey,
yeah,
like that's
I'm
surprised you didn't put a stapler in Jello. Almost.
Yeah. The other one is is if you can get access to someone's car, you put those huge chrome testicles on the back, which is just so like, really, dude? Yeah, but like something like that.
You know what
I
my friends
lived in LA 15 years ago, and so everyone has a car, so it was just
Yeah.
that was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friends, they put like oil or something on my front windshield wipers, and then they threw some snow on. And so I'm like, oh, I'll wipe it off, and it smeared all the oil on the windshield.
No,
It
no, no, no,
was a
no, no.
tricky drive home. I was 17
Wait,
at the
hold on.
time.
That's not a prank. That's a dick move.
Yeah.
Like, what? I
It
don't, yeah,
sounds
I do it.
His
I
old
don't
Buick
know.
was 86.
Did you know what I learned in high school the hard way is that, myself and maybe 4 or 5, 6, 7 or 8 friends, one of the teacher's cars was like a Volkswagen Bug. We lifted it up and moved it down the block just as a kind of a prank. But it turns out that if you do that and you move it more than 10 feet, you've stolen it.
Stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
You stole it.
You stole it.
Yeah. So anyway, I started my career at my second high school after that, and it was, yeah.
That's a great prank. It would take a few
Well,
hours with people.
or felony, whatever you want to call it. It's a fine line, isn't it? Yeah.
Favorite family activity?
Favorite family activity? Charades. We do a lot of charades with our kids. We're trying to like not do screen time, even though you kind of want to sometimes just go like, here, enjoy, don't. Yeah, you on a plane or a long car ride, we'll do that. But charades we love, and then lately karaoke.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a singer, but it's like it's so interactive, and they express themselves so much more when they have like a stage for a second, even though the stage is not a stage; it's just our like kitchen. But it's that I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And final rapid fire, do your kids think you're cool or embarrassing?
That's a good question. I think it's both. I think we're in the public eye. It's a weird. I don't know what that's like. I mean, I didn't grow up around that kind of thing, and so I know it's a little odd at school, but it goes through phases, right? So I mean, last second grade is tough. They get kind of like their lip gets tight, like when you're like it's basically the subconsciously saying like don't like hug and smother me with kisses right now, like I please just like release me into this like hellscape of school. There's a bit of that, and then over the summer a lot of the kids, even though they were way 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 too young, had watched Deadpool and Wolverine, so it made a bit of a my oldest daughter's very she's not shy, but when she feels safe, she'll perform and have like be gregarious, but she is a little bit like I was when I was a kid. She's like a skin covered antenna. She sort of like feels everything and sees too much sometimes. Like you can't hide anything from her. Like she'll know if I'm stressed, she'll know if I'm happy, she'll know if I'm relaxed, she'll know. And same with my wife. So I would say that they are proud in some ways, and then other ways like embarrassed, like any kid would be around their parents. And then also they don't have the objectivity on like why people might give us attention more than maybe another parent, or that's an ongoing thing. Like I don't know how to handle that. So why would they? Like it's
Right.
always odd. So you just try to like demystify as much of it as possible, because a lot of people have a sort of preconceived notion about folks in our business. And obviously there's some horrible people that work in any business, but by and large, the people that we've been lucky enough to work with have been really generally kind and have integrity, and when other people and our kids see that, it's a good thing. So because like you could assume when you meet us, like anyone in this business, I do it too sometimes, I still get starstruck. Like I'll see someone I watched from, and I can't speak. I'm like an idiot. I just literally only pronounce the letter L, and I just sound like somebody hit me in the head or something. And then
Yeah.
but there's always that idea that, oh, are they entitled, or are they gonna feel like, I don't know, you never know, right? And then, so I always feel like someone might be thinking that, and I'm so Canadian, I overcompensate, bending
Yeah.
all the way over backwards until my own head is so far up my ass, I come back out my own mouth and re-enter the conversation.
Yeah. I remember it there. I forget what post it was on. Maybe might have been one of my Instagram posts of you, and I shared a clip of you and Bella at SickKids, and Blake made a hilarious troll comment. Like she was like trolling you, and
Yeah.
someone had said, "Wait a minute, Bella's meeting the celebrity, not Ryan meeting Bella." And then Blake's like,
Yeah.
she's like, that checks.
I'm meeting the celebrity Bella, yeah, and
Yeah.
definitely not the other way around. But that's like, that is kind of, how it should feel and how it kind of is. She really captured the heart of a lot of people, and you guys obviously put really good stuff in her to be that person, and that's not easy. What you've navigated is unimaginable and unthinkable for most people, and but also Bella was just born with something different blowing through her, and you could tell right away. It was like she was like had the wisdom of somebody who's a sixth generation grandma, but also the sense of humor of like a young Richard Pryor. So it was like, it was very, very unique, and someone that I'll never ever forget. I can literally see her on 3D right now, and I'm really glad that I got to meet her. I realized that we were lucky to meet, because we had only had a finite window. She was only visiting here for way too brief a moment. So
yeah, thanks, Ryan. Well, before we all say goodbye to my permagrin, I have one kind of like closing question, but I also want to invite you to ask us anything you want to, if you get a chance. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go?
You go. If you have any questions, go ahead. Yeah.
What do you? This is maybe, I don't want to. I'm not trying to like choke you up or anything, but what's the thing that you miss most about Bella?
Oh, for me, I miss. It's okay if I go first.
Yeah,
okay.
Of course it is.
I miss the way she was so in tune with my feelings. I wouldn't even have to speak, and she would know what I was thinking and what I was feeling. And then she'd know how to help me with it, whether it was a hug or out of nowhere, just looking at me, she'd say, "Mom, it's going to be okay. I'm here. I'm with you. Just breathe." She'd start coaching me like she was my teacher, and it amazed me every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, if I can just interject, and Lyle, I can't wait to hear your answer, but that mechanism is the same thing that made her funny. It's being able to jump into someone else's perspective, read them, and then say something that might, heal them or make them laugh or make them feel, so I think it's a sign of real emotional intelligence as well. So, and I could see that when I met her. Lisa Cherendoff, who's my connection, my main connection at SickKids Foundation. She had spoken a lot about how Bella's influence and personality and vibe had permeated the whole hospital there, and I got to see that up close. So.
I loved her. She always had commentary on anything, and it goes along to kind of what you were just saying too, where she would always, you knew how she was feeling, and what she thought of what she thought. Like, you walked in and she's like, "Nah, Dad, you got to change," or something.
Yeah.
Constantly she do that. Or when you go to a nice fancy restaurant, which she loved. I love taking her out to places, and she's like, "Yeah, this is a good vibe. This is where I want to be right now." She's like, "I like this spot. Can I have that corner over there?" And it's just, she always had a really good vibe, and she was always making commentary on everything, on what she's exposed to. Yeah.
It's nice though, knowing where you stand with someone. There's not enough of that in the world, right? You kind of, you have all sorts of relationships where you find out like somebody's been upset with you for 6 months, but I'm not psychic. Tell me, but I love it when you meet people who really let you know exactly what they're feeling in the moment, and that way you can kind of address it.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for Ryan before?
No, I think you Question enough.
Did I question you enough? Right.
I feel perfect. Like it wasn't meant to be the Spanish Inquisition. I only have 15 minutes, but I've now.
Yeah.
I'm also that that other Canadian thing where I feel like absolute shit if I'm late for something. But I did secretly sneaky text them while we were talking that I'm going to be late, and then I'm here to disappoint them. So. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's great. I have one final. If you catch the pun, this is wonderful. I love puns. Bella had a big dream to be in a SickKids commercial, as you do. So I would love to put my hat in the ring for the next one. I promise to bring my A game and my marvelous talent.
Oh, so hey, come on! Like the water's warm. The water is warm. I mean, the SickKids Foundation is like one of those businesses, those rare businesses that its success is to be out of business. So I'm hoping that I don't have to make commercials for the rest of them, but my guess is that I probably will. And I would love to have you on because frankly, I am completely and totally fucking running out of ideas. This year I straight up cheated. I was just like, I need the Deadpool suit. I need Kid Pool. I need another superhero and help because there are only so many things you can do with a bright green, red, and gold sweater before you kind of start scratching your head and I'm going to let them down this year. Yeah.
We got some time now. I will start thinking for you and I will help. I will help with that.
I accept any and all pitches, although not on the internet. People do that all the time. It would be a great movie. And then if someone makes it and you didn't happen to, catch that, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you're out.
Don't pitch anything. Pitch it to someone who can make it. I want to say one thing before I go, though. I don't know if you've read it. I don't know if you care to. You guys have your own, journey in this, and I don't pretend to know anything about it other than you have raised a wonderful, incredible kid that I was lucky enough to meet. But my friend Rob Delaney, I don't know if you know him. He plays Peter in Deadpool. I'm saying right now, Lyle, you look like you can kind of sub in for him if necessary. But Rob lost a child, Henry, at 2 years old, and he wrote a book that I thought was really beautiful called A Heart That Works. Kind of about grief, but Rob's also a comedian. He's a very dark, subversive comedian packaged in this sort of Ned Flanders, and that's what makes him so interesting. And it made me a fan of him before I ever got to work with him. But anyway, he wrote a book that I thought was really beautiful and hard, I can imagine, to read. And he shoulders something that I'm sure you guys do, which is that you probably are met by a lot of grief from other people. You probably find other people finding you who have lost someone. And that is in and of itself a really tricky and hard thing to carry because you're carrying your own already. And I know Rob can feel like that sometimes where, especially when you write a book about it, suddenly people reach out all over the place. And that's not easy. So I just was going to say it's worth a read, but it's also a means to sort of get to that thought, which is that I'm sure, you guys, and one of the reasons I like to do this stuff for parents as much as kids is it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it. Thank you. Definitely.
Yeah. No, well, hopefully you'll have some big Hollywood stud on here next. I don't know, maybe Jackman or someone. Who knows? Will not be as eloquent or as liberal with his time as I was. So
well, you're welcome to pimp us out, however.
Let's get into the digital sex trade, and I will be the head honcho of what was that game? I'm so much older than you. Leisure Suit Larry, was that the game when I was a kid? There are all these things where now you'd be like, oh, you're going to jail if you make a game like that.
Yeah, it was great.
Leisure Suit Larry. The 80s and 90s. Too hungry to stay still anymore.
My tummy's growled on the morning, I think twice now.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I've had that. We're on a movie where you're mic'd, right? And they're like, do you mind just having a cookie?
Yeah,
did you hear it?
Yeah, I did hear it. That was recorded.
It'll come through.
Well,
Thanks
I
for
guys, I loved getting to talk with you, and
Great.
yeah, and thank you for everything
Any
you're doing, and yeah.
and same to you. And anytime you want to venture out to Swift Current, Saskatchewan,
That's
we
a long drive.
we have an acreage, 10 acres. You can house your kids. Blake, you guys, we could go tobogganing.
I can do a lot with 10
Invitation.
acres. Hold on. Tobogganing in Saskatchewan, methinks you're lying.
No, we have
Um,
our acreage is like we're at the top of a coulee, and all around us is coulee, and then all around that is like cropland. So we have like a little, we
Okay.
have a little, yeah.
I was like gonna say, is it like I would think like a hill would be a
Oh,
provincial treasure.
well,
I mean,
forget like you need trees. I mean,
Why does he need
oh yeah.
trees?
we have a
Wait,
tree
Lyle,
farm.
you're an arborist? No. I've been, I sell trees on the black market, so we should actually get offline and talk a little bit
Oh,
about our,
It's crazy.
yeah.
Black market tree
Um,
business.
Wait, are you an arborist? Is that what you do?
No, I'm not an arborist because I grow them. I don't cut them down.
yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You have too
Well,
many
when I was
trees.
a kid, we did the tree planting thing. I don't remember when I was a kid, like a teenager, you'd go in the summer.
You
They'd
did
pay
that?
you per. Yeah, you'd fire the tree into the ground, and you get like it was a summer job. It was like a
Like cents
it was
per tree,
grueling.
right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
No, I don't do that. Well, I grow them, but I grow them in little pots and sell them, and
Pot and pot.
it's fun. Yeah.
Oh, you sell weed. Okay, good.
I know.
Yep.
That's what everyone.
Well.
And I'm like, why am I not just doing that? That'd be a lot easier.
Yeah, right. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one smokes your trees, so you're just kind of they're trees. They're
Yeah.
proper trees. All right, good.
Proper trees.
Is it what's
Well,
the
thanks for
business
helping
called?
on, Ryan.
Yeah.
This is
What's
so
your
much fun.
business called?
Oh, Swift Tree Center.
Swift
Swift?
Tree Center.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds, and you're watching the Beyond Brave podcast brought to you by Swift Tree Center. Your all your needs met there at Swift Tree Center. They will get you trees, and they'll do it swiftly. Check your local
So-
listings. There
We
you
have
go.
our commercials. We're done. Thank you for
Yeah.
That was
that.
awesome. I
Yeah.
You
appreciate
got
it.
it. Okay, I gotta go. I will talk to you guys again. I hope sooner rather than later. And again, sending you all my love and my best. And I know it's an ongoing thing you guys are doing, but yeah, I'm glad that you can share and talk about it as well because I'm sure it helps a lot of people.
Thank you.
Take care, Ryan.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Bye.
Very much. I love playing Pikachu. It's the one movie I've done that my kids can watch.
I watched it before too.
Yeah.
I like it.
All the other ones I've done are just naughty, and I can't really show my kids those ones. They're all rated R. But that's the one. I have that one at least. Yeah.
Is Evie in the movie? She's my favorite.
Yes, she is. She's in the movie, yeah.
She's my favorite.
Yeah, I love the water one. What's the water one? The water Pokemon. The one that like something carp.
I don't know.
Oh, that's my favorite one. Magikarp. Nice. You're such a nerd. Love it. I love it. You knew Magikarp. Right? Oh, that's cool. How you doing?
Good.
Yeah. How are they treating you here at
How are your
SickKids?
girls?
They're good. My girls are great. My girls are great.
How's it been playing video games?
None of them play video games.
I have this really fun Disney Dreamlight Valley game on my Switch.
Oh, really? No way.
It's kind of like the new Zelda game,
Yeah.
only Disney themed.
Oh.
It's like Disney characters and
What's it
stuff.
called?
Disney Dreamlight Valley.
I haven't.
And you get to do like quests and unlock Disney characters and all that
Like
stuff.
Zelda. Zelda used to do that. I played Zelda all the time when I was a kid.
Oh,
That's what Dad plays. I love it.
Daddy plays like the new Zelda game 24/7.
Oh, really? Because they're so immersive, right?
He actually bought it from Mom.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic dad move right there. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of buying my wife a motorcycle. No. See, that's just what dads do. They buy gifts that they really want. Right? It's their sneaky trick. Yeah. How's it been in SickKids? This place is pretty great, huh?
Good.
I love this place. I think it's awesome. Awesome people work here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They do magic. We just shot a commercial downstairs.
What?
Yeah.
Cool.
For SickKids, yeah. I do like a SickKids ugly sweater campaign every year. I don't know if you've seen it, but we just did it here. There it is.
Maybe you'll put it on.
There's my hideous ugly sweater.
It would look better with some glitter.
Yeah, I know. It would look a lot better on fire, really. It's just about the ugliest sweater I've ever seen. And some glitter. Some fire and some glitter. Maybe a nice trash can. I don't know. Yeah. So how long have you been in here right now? When did you guys get here?
Since
Can you take a guess?
We've
been here a while, hey?
I can't remember.
Well, we've been coming since 2020.
So 2020.
Since she got listed for her transplant.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you have the transplant yet?
Yep.
And how'd it go?
Good.
All good?
I can walk.
You can walk. That's nice. That's gotta feel good.
I'm going to gym today.
Yeah. How do you handle that when you go in for a big
When
surgery?
I went to gym yesterday,
Yeah.
I went into the little gym and they had like this swing. It was so much fun.
Really?
Because I love swings.
Is it indoor gym or outdoor?
Indoor.
Okay. Wow. And how do you when you have to go for like a surgery like that where they're doing a transplant, is it scary or is it like exciting or are you nervous or are you like cool as a cucumber? How do you handle that?
Meh.
Meh. I like that attitude. That's good. So you're just kind of like, whatever, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it to it. And now you can walk, and that must feel so good, right? So freeing, a little
And
independence
I
back.
can eat now.
You can eat now. God, I don't know what I'd do without food. Isn't that so good? Even hospital food, I'll take it. What's your favorite kind of food?
I really like their sandwiches.
The sandwiches here? Like if you could have anything, you could eat anything anywhere in the world at any time, what would it be? It wouldn't be the sandwiches here. Or would it? What?
Too good.
Really? What kind of sandwiches are they?
The roast beef.
The roast beef ones.
Oh.
With lettuce and fat-free mayo.
Ooh, wow. Why skimp on the mayo? Like, let's just go all out. Regular mayo, man. Oh, nice. Oh, that's nice. So you've been in and out of here since 2020. So it's probably a lot different now than it was in 2020, right? When the pandemic was going on and everyone was locked down.
I went to the mall yesterday.
Yeah, that's nice to get to go out.
I got these glasses.
Let me see them on.
They're blue light glasses.
Oh, so for when you're playing your game. That's nice. They look great on you. They're beautiful. They match your shirt perfectly.
Look it.
Oh, I love that. And who is this? Is it an LOL?
I got her at Indigo, and yeah.
Is it an LOL doll? My kids love LOL dolls.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm like an LOL nerd.
Yeah. It's very easy to get nerdy about that. And then my oldest daughter always steals these. And these I just have for sick kids, but when I come to the SickKids
I also
Hospital.
have a makeup kit.
No way.
I got
Wow. Wow.
theirs.
If I didn't have to go shoot something else, I'd have you do my makeup.
Get my necklace. Get my necklace.
Oh,
That also got theirs.
You want to put it on?
You got this at Claire's?
Yes.
It's not just any old necklace.
Not any old one.
Oh,
Do you want it on? Okay.
Whoa. No, that is not just any old necklace. Is that a locket? Come on.
Did you decide where you're going to put it in it yet?
Oh, that is sweet. They have Claire's in Canada? I didn't know that.
This is the
They don't
only
in the
piece.
States.
I've never actually got to find like an actual thing that has a bee on it.
That's true,
But
yeah.
this, I'm so glad I found.
Do you know, I have a daughter, her name is Betty, and we always look for stuff with a bee on it as well.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah. She has all kinds of nicknames, though. Dirty Rat. Buzz. Call her Buzz as well. Call her BB. We call her Bee. What else do we call her? Mostly Dirty Rat, though.
Mommy calls me Bug.
Bug. Well, that's much cuter. It's much cuter than Dirty Rat. I'm outing myself as parent of the year over here. Oh, my God. Wow. It's sure nice meeting you. I'm really glad that I got to come and say hello. I'm gonna leave this with you as well because I know you're dying to wear an ugly sweater like that
I'm
one
not
day.
dying to wear.
I know you're not. I know you're not. Maybe you have a friend that will, though. Want to take a couple pictures or something, or
I doubt Tala wants to wear that.
don't what?
I doubt Tala wants.
No. Who's Tyler?
Tyla.
Tyler.
Tala.
Tyler.
Or transplant bestie. She had a liver transplant.
Oh, Tyler might want to wear it. You never know.
I doubt it.
One person's ugly sweater is another person's ball game. You just never know. we grab a quick picture? That'd be good?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to slide over here.
Well, that just happened. I just interviewed Ryan Reynolds. That was a wild ride. I'm super excited. And thank you guys for making it all the way to the end of another episode of Beyond Brave. I'm really happy you're here. I'm really excited for more guests on this show. So if you have a chance to leave a comment or a suggestion of who you would like to see next on the show, I am going to give it my best shot to get them on. Also, if you haven't had a chance yet to rate, review, like, subscribe, that is much appreciated for our Beyond Brave. And check out the show notes for any links and information you aren't aware of. But like, if you're not already following Ryan Reynolds, I mean, do you exist? Are you here on planet Earth? And apart from that, just thank you again. I'm all flustered now because I just did an interview with Ryan Reynolds. Anyways, please stay brave. Take care.